try to create an example which basically give us or calculate the factorial of any number, and for simplicity we will only use the number 5. In our previous class, we have already learned recursion in Java and what is basically recursive method. And we also learned what is the exact syntax of recursive method. Now today, we will try to use the same principle and try to create an example which basically give us or calculate the factorial of any number. And for simplicity, we will only use the number 5. But you can also take the input from user and make it more dynamic. So we can see here this factorial 5, this is nothing but 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, and the calculated value is 120. A school standard math, right? Now we will try to do that in Eclipse, and we will also try to check the recursive functionality in a Excel with some value. So I have opened my Eclipse and I have also created a recursion factorial example under com.demo.recursion package, and this is my main method. Now if I double click here to get a wider view, so you can see here my main method start here and end here, and after that we can create or define our method. Now let's say our defined method name is fact, which has a parameter int n, and I have also make a public static int is basically its return type. Now my method start here and end here. Now save it using Ctrl S. Now we have to use the recursive functionality, right? So the logic will be something like this: if n greater than 1, so let's say we have put a or pass a value 5, so if 5 greater than 1, then it will return something like this: n into fact n minus 1. So actually we are trying to call this fact method, so we are trying to do some recursive call here, and let's say 5, if 5 greater than 1, yes, so it will basically return 5 and then fact and then decrease n value by 1. That's mean now my 5 here calculated as 4, and it will call this method, so here it will go, and then for this 4 it will check is 4 greater than 1, and it will again return the value like 4 into fact of n minus 1, that is 4 minus 1, that is basically 3, and this way this recursive call will be going on till n greater than 1. Now once n is equal to 1, we know that factorial of 1 is equal to 1, so in else part we simply return the 1 value. So if n greater than 1, we will try to return n into factorial of n minus 1, that's mean recursive call of that functions, and if n is equal to 1, then it will go to the else part and return 1 value. Now our method definitions is done, and first call we have to do from here, that is basically from our main method. So to call this, we can simply write the method name and we will pass the value 5 as per our example, and once we call this one, it will basically return our integer value. So we can create another variable, let's say int f, and under that we can store the calculated value of this factorial, and finally we can create a system.out.println statement, and we can write like factorial is equal to f. Now our program is ready, just save it using Ctrl S, and remember this statement, this return statement, this is something n into recursively call these functions again with a decrease value of n, that is basically n minus 1, and if first time it's a 5, then it will definitely second time 4, then once it's go for the 4, again it will return, because 4 is greater than 1, n into fact 4 minus 1, that is basically 3. So if we check in Excel, so it will be look like this. So in first call it will be 5, that is basically n, then into fact n minus 1, 5 minus 1, that is basically 4. So first time it will return this one, then for this fact 4 it will return n is 4 into fact 4 minus 1, that is basically fact 3. So you can see for this fact 4 it is basically returning 4 into fact 3. Now for this fact 3 it is basically returning 3 into fact 2. Now once it's fact 2, so it will return 2 into fact 1. Now once it is 1, so if you check this Eclipse again, so if it is 1, so n Greater than 1? No. So it will go for the else part and it will simply return 1. So here you can see I am simply putting a 1 because fact1 will return 1, not a n into fact n minus 1. So once I get the total value, so you can see here it's simply 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, and the total calculations is 120. Now if you go to this Eclipse and save this file using Ctrl S and try to run this. So if I run this file, so you can see here that I am getting the factorial value is equal to 120. So factorial 5 is nothing but 120. So you can make this message dynamic. Even you can take the input from user and with the help of scanner class you take that one and pass that value here to make this factorial recursive functions more dynamic. Okay, so this is a simple program for recursive method where we are trying to calculate factorial of number 5.
I believe this video has helped you to understand about the topic. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe, click on the bell notifications and select all so that you don't miss any video from this channel.